Hi everyone, my name is Abby Morgan. I'm from Stats New Zealand and today I'll be talking about the use of administrative data to support field enumeration census. I'll be focusing on how we used admin data in the New Zealand 2018 census. Also, thanks and acknowledgement to the sponsors for this conference. So, the use of integrated admin data in the New Zealand 2018 census. Firstly, we had always intended to make use of admin data in our 2018 census. We planned to use it to support the field operation through the creation of a dwelling frame from administrative address sources, using admin data to fill gaps for missing item information in questionnaire responses, and in quality assessment, so comparing census results with related admin information. In reality, we ended up using much more admin data following the lower than expected response rates in the field collection. The scale of non-response meant that planned methods for unit imputation were unlikely to be suitable, and new methods were developed to use admin sources to count those who had been missed by the census field collection. We also extend the use of admin data for item missingness as a result of the additional non-response. So this innovative approach was made possible because of the advantages available to us leveraging off previous work. So we have the Statistical Location Register, which is a national list of addresses with unique address IDs, along with an environment for address coding additional sources to this list. Extensive linked administrative data was available in StatsNZ's integrated data infrastructure, the IDI, and we had connections between the address and person level linked data via the unique address IDs, and extensive previous research that had developed an administrative New Zealand resident population and a good understanding of how admin data could be used for many census variables. We also had the 2018 census responses already linked to the IDI population due to the already planned use of item data. And this meant we had a lot already in place to manage legal, security, and privacy issues. We did additional work to strengthen this when we were extending the use of admin data. However, there are still some remaining questions about social license. Okay, so when we were embarking on including admin records to fill missing responses in our census file, we start with the admin New Zealand resident population. So this population is constructed from our linked admin data for people in the IDI. It's created as a subset of records selected from our ever resident population contained in the IDI spine. We use signs of life data to identify records to include in the current resident population and to remove records who are not part of the population, either because they've died or because they no longer reside in New Zealand. This population is a good approximation of the New Zealand population, but it does have some limitations that we need to consider in the census context. Okay, so these limitations include, so there is some undercoverage and some overcoverage in this population. At the moment, it's not well quantified, but we are progressing methods for measuring that. There are some marked differences in the age-sex structure for younger adults, especially in males. And the administrative geographic location is good when you're at larger geographies, but as you go down to smaller geographies, that accuracy tends to decrease. Admin households are also problematic, so we're only able to create about half of the admin households that have the same household membership as census. Okay, so this is sort of a really high-level pictorial overview of what we're attempting to do in this combined census model using the two data sources. So on the left in the green, we have the census responses. You'll see that we have a large number of people coming from the individual forms. And for most of those people, we have nearly all of their item characteristics. We then have a smaller number of people coming from the household listing. And for those people, we are missing a lot of their census characteristics. On the right-hand side, in the blue, we have the admin resident population. So you'll see that there's a slightly longer list of people here, and that for most people, we do have a good range of census characteristics. There are some systematic gaps, and then also for a subset of the census characteristics, we have no information whatsoever. So the next step in the process when we've got these two big data sets is to undertake a large-scale linking. So we use probabilistic linking based on name, date of birth, sex, country of birth, and mesh block, which is a small geography, and address to get the highest possible quality link between the two lists. We get quite high linkage accuracy with a 97.7% link rate, and wrong links being under 1% and mislinks just over 1%. The portion of the admin records not linked to the census responses then becomes a part of that admin population that's available for us to use to add into the census file to mitigate non-response. The way in which we add those admin records into the file is, firstly, we aim to put them into private dwellings because ideally we would want everyone in households and at a dwelling level to best mimic the census data. But we do need to work around some of those limitations that we mentioned earlier. So we use a dwelling or household model that's based on work by the US Bureau of Census, and that predicts the reliability of an admin household. And in this, we use a combination of models. So one predicts whether we have the correct admin address for a person, and the other predicts whether the admin data groups the right people together into a household. So we're able to put quite a number of admin records into these private dwellings. However, it's not enough to fully mitigate the non-response. So then we start putting them into a mesh block, which is our smallest geography. So in this situation, we have to remember that we've got that geography limitation. We also have some linkage error from when we link the two data sets together, and we have that potential overcoverage in the admin data. So we subset the eligible population to take account for the linkage error, and then we use the address prediction model again to identify those we are confident in placing in a low-level geography. So the result is we have this one file from the combined sources. We retain all of those census people from the forms in the green there. Where we have some missing item information in census, we've plugged the gaps with admin data and previous census data. And then we've mitigated that non-response by adding those admin records at the bottom. And for all the information that we do have available, we've used that in the item characteristics. But as mentioned earlier, for some of the census characteristics, we just have no admin data available. So results. As you can see in this table, admin data does a really good job at bringing in those populations that were hard to count. So you'll see that we're bringing in a lot more admin records for Māori and Pacific populations than we are for European and Asian. When we've assessed this against benchmark population distributions and done some sensitivity analysis, we've found that this indicates the results are close to what we would expect. Admin data does include many people who are typically hard to count through census field collection and makes a significant quality improvement over our previous census methods for non-response adjustment. So in summary, we learnt a huge amount in 2018 using new sources in practice. There's strength in combining census data with admin data sources, and admin records achieve a better bias reduction than standard unit imputation processes. What's next for New Zealand Census? It's coming up in 2023. We're aiming for high response rates, and we are planning to use administrative sources by design to fill gaps where possible. So that's in both units and in items. And we've had We've seen a lot of international recognition of the importance of contingency plans and the role that admin data might play in that when it comes to census non-response. And just a closing thought, no data source is perfect. And references for those that are interested.